Well, guys, election day is here, finally. And I say this with a sense of some relief because this is the one day in which we, the citizens, get to talk back. We live in a democracy, but we don't live in a democracy the way that the ancient Greeks did. In their democracy, people showed up into the agora or the central square, and they did this many times in a year. Every time there was an important public question, should Athens go to war with Sparta? Should we raise taxes? Should we collect money and build a temple? Should we sacrifice to the gods? By and large, the adult citizens of Athens who were eligible to vote all would come in person, and they would essentially vote through acclamation or through raising their hands. They would vote directly. This was direct democracy. And so you could say that the citizens had a constant and regular, not just input, but decision-making power. Now, in a representative democracy like we have, that's not the case. We elect other people. We put them in our place. They make these decisions on our behalf, and they're always invoking, this is for the people. This is really going to help you. And but they end up speaking to us. They end up sort of letting us know the way things are. And they do this on all kinds of counts. They do this on COVID. They do this on climate change. They are often talking down to us. But today we get to talk back to them. Today we are in charge. Today we decide which of them is going to represent us. So very important day. There's no excuse whatsoever for not voting. You must do it. If you haven't done it already in early voting, go do it. Make sure you vote today. Now, the election looks like it's going to be in the hands, this is fairly typically the case, of the independents, the guys in the middle, the people who sort of aren't all that attuned to politics. Here's Elon Musk. To independent-minded voters, shared power curbs the worst excesses of both parties, and therefore I recommend voting for a Republican Congress, given that the presidency is Democratic. Now, this is a very interesting argument, and I think actually one that appeals to independents. It is the idea that the Democrats have their extremists and the Republicans have their extremists. So there's a kind of a moral equivalence that Elon Musk is making. And he's saying that if you have divided government, now he says shared power, but what he really means is checks and balances. What he's saying is the Democrats by themselves are way too extreme. They've kind of gone off the deep end. And so Elon Musk is very clearly endorsing the Republicans in the midterm election. But he's doing it not on the basis that Republican principles are better. I think he does think they're better. But I think here he's making a very strategic appeal to independents. And by the way, this echoes things that Musk has been saying about Twitter. Here's a tweet he put out now a few months ago. For Twitter to deserve public trust, it must be politically neutral, which effectively means upsetting the far right and the far left equally. Now, certainly with regard to the neutrality of the platform, I totally agree. But the far right and the far left don't pose an equivalent threat on Twitter. It's the far left that wants to do the censorship. The far right doesn't want to censor the left. The far right simply wants to coexist and have its say. And I think the broader point I want to make is this, and that is that the moral equivalence fails because Republicans in the end are willing to live with Democrats. Republicans are willing to let Democrats live the way they want. It's Democrats who don't want to let Republicans live the way we want. They are out to get us, to shut us down, to torment us. They're out to deploy the deep state against their opponents. We don't do that kind of thing. And so I think that the way to look at it, if you're an independent, is that you're safer with Republicans. You're safer in all kinds of ways. Your pocketbook is safer. Your border is safer. Your country is safer in the world. So you're personally safer from crime. You can step out of your apartment. You can take the subway. And so what Republicans are offering isn't just prosperity. Usually people think that Republicans offer opportunity and prosperity and Democrats offer security. But no, Democrats certainly don't offer security in the very basic sense that they protect you. They don't do that. They might try to offer you some economic security, but that comes at a high price. And what is that high price? The high price is not only dependency, but it's being frozen in a position where you never really move up in life. Look at the Black community, the inner city Black community. Look at Native American reservations, where the problems of poverty, the problems of crime, the problems of alcoholism are exactly the same today as they were 20 years ago, as they were 50 years ago. So you ask, you've had this war on poverty, why does poverty always win? And the answer is, it's not because poverty is smarter, it's because the Democrats need poverty. Poverty is their friend, because poverty keeps people with their arms outstretched. So despite Elon Musk's, I think, well-meaning attempt to appeal to moral equivalence, my appeal to independents is that you should vote Republican, not simply to balance things out, but because one party is pretty much across the board really better than the other.